The President's address is the government's assessment of the state of the Union today. And I stand before you to vehemently disagree with that assessment and to ask the most important question that faces us all. What is the kind of republic we want? What is the India that we want today? What is our idea of India that we are willing to stand up for, fight for, be abused for, get jailed for? Ours is a living constitution. It breathes as long as we are willing to breathe life into it. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper, black and white, that can be smudged into shades of grey by any majoritarian government. An elected government bears the people's trust to uphold the constitution, both in letter as well as in spirit. If the government fails, we all fail. So it is not enough for Indians to sit back and watch and wish each other a happy Republic Day. This government wants to alter history. They are fearful of the future and they mistrust the present. Robert F. Kennedy in the 1960s had warned of such hateful forces. The Honorable President, early on in his address, speaks about freedom fighters who secured India's rights. He speaks of Guru Tegh Bahadur, V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But this is just lip service. In reality, recalling India's past, a past of decency, a past of plurality, a past of secularism, makes this government very, very insecure. So the Disallow Republic Day floats from West Bengal, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, floats on Netaji, who taught us to say Jai Hind, floats on Subramaniam Bhartiyar, who said that even if Indians are divided, they are still the child of one mother. Floats on V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, who even when he was threatened with being imprisoned on sedition, refused to stop his political activity. And floats on Srinarayan Guru, who picked up a rock and consecrated it as Erava Shiva. The invocation of an imaginary past, however, goes on and on. This government has reinvented Savarkar as a freedom fighter. The apology letter he wrote to the British, begging for release, is now being recast as some kind of strategic masterstroke. The appropriation of Bhagat Singh, who was staunchly anti-fascist. The appropriation of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who banned the RSS after becoming Home Minister. The President's address refers to Netaji on multiple occasions. I will remind this Republic that this is the same Netaji who said, the government of India should have an absolutely neutral and impartial attitude towards all religions. Would Netaji have approved of a Hardwar Dharam Sansad that issues blood-curdling calls for Muslim genocide? On June 14, 1938, in Comilla, now Bangladesh, Netaji said, communalism has raised its ugly head in an all-out nakedness. Netaji's Indian National Army's insignia was Tipu Sultan's springing tiger. The same Tipu Sultan that you erased from our textbooks, after whom you cannot bear to name roads or sports stadiums. The INA's mottos were three Urdu words, Ittihad, Itmad, and Kurbani. Unity, trust, and sacrifice. The same Urdu language that this government is so delighted to replace with Hindi as the first and official language of Jammu and Kashmir. The President's address refers to Khadi being a symbol of consciousness under the leadership of Bapu. But the unholy Dharam Sansad's issue calls to kill Bapu all over again. You have already succeeded in glorifying Gandhi's assassins. But just for the sake of those children who will grow up watching Beating the Retreat without his favorite hymn, let me remind you of some of the lyrics. Come not in terror as the King of Kings, but kind and good, with healing in thy wings. Tears for all, a heart for every plea. Come, friends of sinners, abide with me. The President's speech lauds these great personalities for fighting for our rights, but in reality, the masters of our republic fear their own irrelevance if in future India and Indians are actually guaranteed the rights and liberties enshrined in our constitution. The Freedom House Report 2021 changes India's status from free to partly free. The World Press Freedom Index, India retains 142nd spot out of 180, remains one of the most dangerous places globally for journalists today. The Human Freedom Index 2020, measuring personal, civic, and economic freedoms, puts India at 111th spot out of 160. You fear a future India which is comfortable in its own skin. What do I mean by this? You fear an India which is comfortable with embracing...
महुआ जी थोड़ा सा प्रेम से बोलिए, इतना गुस्सा नहीं करिए,
गुस्सा
अच्छा
आता
से
है,
बोलिए।
क्या करें?
हाँ,
ठीक
अच्छा
है,
से बोलिए।
which is comfortable.
हाँ
आप कह रहे हैं प्रेम से बोलने पर, रामधारी सिंह दिनकर का
हाँ,
एक कविता हम आपको बोल दे। सहनशीलता, क्षमता, सहनशीलता,
अपनाइए,
क्षमा,
अपनाइए।
दया को तब पूछता जग है, बल का दर्प चमकता उसके पीछे जब जगमग है।
हाँ।
तो सहनशीलता, क्षमा सब देंगे, पर पीछे
हाँ,
थोड़ा
ये-
तो बल का दर्प होना भी चाहिए।
नहीं, थोड़ा होना चाहिए,
ठीक है,
ज्यादा नहीं होना
डेफिनेटली
चाहिए।
आपके बात हम मानते हैं, थोड़ा ले आते हैं, पर बल का दर्प पीछे है और जग ये पूछते अभी है।
सहनशीलता सबसे पहले।
You fear a future which is you fear a future India which is comfortable in its own skin, which is comfortable with conflicting realities. So you fear an India where a Jain boy can hide from home and enjoy a kati kebab on a street cart in Ahmedabad. So what do? You forbid non-vegetarian street food in Gujarat municipalities. You fear the future where on the eve of an election, you may not be able to arm twist government agencies to raid opposition leaders. So you need to extend the tenure of the CBI and ED chiefs depending on how they do your bidding. You fear a future in which bureaucrats in a state cannot be bullied by the center. So you amend the IAS cadre rules. This fear of irrelevance in the future makes you behave the way you do. You are not content with just our vote. You want to get inside our heads, inside our homes, to tell us what to eat, what to wear, who to love. But your fear alone cannot keep the future at bay. जिस सुबह की खातिर जुग जुग से हम सब मर मर के जीते हैं, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी। इन भूखी प्यासी रूहों पर एक दिन तो करम फरमाएगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी। Kennedy tells us that people who want to stop history in its tracks mistrust the present. This government mistrusts the very soul of our republic when it brings in an act to link Aadhaar cards to the right to vote, because you are creating enormous possibilities to disenfranchise genuine voters. You mistrust our Annadatas who repeatedly told you, don't bring in the farm laws. Even when you roll them back, I think it was more your fear of losing 70 seats in Western UP than any remorse you felt for the 700 plus farmers who passed away. You have still not guaranteed MSP in writing, one of the main demands. You mistrust the Jats, the Sikhs, anyone who stands up to you. And yet, the minute elections are around the corner, you shamelessly put on a pagdi and put out offers of alliances. But this time, the Chaudhrys will not forget. The Chaudhrys will not forget that the son of a sitting minister of this government mowed down 5 farmers, and it took 3 full days to arrest him, and that too after a horrified Supreme Court stepped in. I stand here today and ask you to remove the Minister of State, the Member of Parliament from Kheri, from office. Every minute that he continues in his chair is an affront to not only democracy, but to the very decency and self-respect of our polity. I shouldn't be standing here saying this. Your conscience should be telling you this. जब नाश पनुष पर आता है, तो पहले विवेक मर जाता है. The way the masters of our republic mistrust the present is most acutely illustrated by the Pegasus mess. And yes, I am going to say it because who are now the Treasury benches brought down an entire government on 2G when 2G was still sub judice. So don't give me this sub judice, sub judice, sub judice. I will bring it up. The way the masters of our republic mistrust the present is most acutely illustrated by the Pegasus mess. The government stands accused of having spent taxpayers' money to buy technology to spy on its own citizens. To paraphrase a leading journalist, New York Times is lying, The Wire is lying, Amnesty is lying, the French government is lying, the German government is lying, the US government is lying, WhatsApp and Apple, who have sued NSO, are lying. Only this government is in splendid isolation with the truth in Pegasus. One minister calls it Supari media, another stands up in this house and lies to us blatantly. How does this government justify introducing a data protection bill which empowers the state to exempt itself from every privacy obligation that the law imposes? You have little respect for the most fundamental aspect of India, that it is a union of states with a federal structure. How else can you explain your patently illegal extension of the BSF jurisdiction 50 kilometers into state territory? You mistrust journalist Siddiq Kapan to an extent that you arrest him even before he's visited Hathras and even before he's written his report. You mistrust comedian Munawar Farooqi before a joke he's even yet to crack. The president's speech says this government has made a beginning to liberate Muslim women by removing triple talaq and Hajj restrictions. And yet, on New Year's Day 2022, Muslim women in India awoke to the reality of being auctioned as bully buys. This was version 2.0 of 2021's Sulli deals. It was only after a huge backlash that the government took action and a few arrests were made. Muslims today are denied houses on rent, accused of being spreaders of COVID in India, economically boycotted, forbidden from praying in designated spaces. This battle of 80% versus 20% that this government has started risks ruining 100% of our sacred republic. 2 minutes, madam. I have 13 minutes, 2 minutes. I am filled with horror at this rampant Islamophobia. But 2 minutes, sir. I have got 13 minutes, sir. I have got 13 minutes, madam. Madam, I've got 13 minutes. 2 minutes. ठीक है, 2 minutes, 13 minutes है मेरा. 2 minutes में मैं खत्म करती हूँ. And it is not rampant. According to the United Christian Forum, there have been 460 attacks on Christians in 2021 alone. Violent mobs have attacked churches, Christian congregations, and Christmas celebrations in 16 towns and cities. I am filled with horror and shame as I repeat to you what Monirul Sheikh, an old man in my home of Karimpur, Nadia, told me last year. Ma, এটা তোমাদের নীতির লড়াই, কিন্তু আমাদের বাঁচার লড়াই. Ma, for you, this is a battle of ideology. But for us, it is a war for survival. Let me finish, sir. Let me finish the last thing. Last 1 minute.
काटिए लाइन. No. नहीं. बशीर जी आप बोलिए बशीर. आप बैठिए.
तो लास्ट सेंटेंस बोल के खत्म करें.
13 minutes is not done, sir. 1 minute, madam. Please, thank you. 8 minutes. But today, we as Indians need to realize one thing. If we are to save this republic, the onus lies on us. To all of you that I say, lawyers, actors, journalists, businessmen, who say this country needs a change, to all of you I say, you cannot choose the time of battle. The bugle has sounded. The citizens of our republic need to fight now. Ye subha hum hi se aayegi. To the judiciary, I use my parliamentary privilege and say, you are all this country has as last recourse and remedy. Do not fail us. Step in proactively. Ye subha hum hi se aayegi. To the opposition, I say,
बैठिए. हो गया 1 मिनट.